Hey guys, so with Kitasan Black coming out very soon, I know that everybody is saving for that card because everybody says Kitasan Black is the best card in the game. Kitasan Black is the second coming of Messiah. You're going to lose out on your firstborn child if you don't get Kitasan Black. And to that, I would say, yes, that is correct. Please pull on Kitasan Black. Not only is it a really good card and probably the best card in the game for a long time, the fact that Kitasan Black is going to be around also means you have an opportunity to pull for other cards as well, namely SR cards. When you're pulling on that banner, you have an opportunity to get the other SR cards, which are very good, and when you limit break them to a high level, you'll get some cards that are, in my opinion, some of the best cards in the game. So definitely go pull on Kitasan Black, not just because the card is good, but because it gives you an opportunity to get other cards as well. But that is not the point of this video today. Today, I wanted to cover whether or not you should pull for 1 copy of Kitasan Black, 2, 3, 4, like what is the optimal amount of Kitasan Blacks that you should be pulling, depending on your budget and things like that. And of course, the answer is always get max level if you can, but not everybody can do that, and not everybody can afford it. So if you're on a budget, how much should you pull and why? Well, the TLDR, if you don't care about the reasoning and the nitty-gritty, is that, of course, always pull 1 copy because 1, the card is really good and has really good skills, but also it gives you a chance to limit break them in the future whenever you get another copy, with any selectors and the sorts. But if you're asking me for the optimal for a free-to-play player, it's definitely at 1 limit break, because 1 limit break will give you a +1 power, which is extremely strong. Now, if you're not free-to-play or you have just a ton of carrots, then I'd say the next optimal spot to stop at is going to be 3, because 3 is going to give you a ton of specialty bonus on top of other stats. 4, of course, is a luxury, and if you can't afford it, definitely go for it, but the optimal spot to stop is going to be 3. It's going to be 3, 1, and 0, and 4 is going to be the last option because that's just extremely expensive. But to go into detail, there's 2 factors to consider in this. First off, how many Kitasan Black should you pull compared to other cards? Because when you're setting up your support setup, you have 6 support card slots, and one of them is a friend support card. And more likely than not, you're probably going to be able to find somebody who's going to have a max limit break Kitasan Black. So in that sense, you probably don't even need to pull for Kitasan Black yourself. But there's oftentimes a case where your friend might have a max level support that you might not have. Let's say a Silent Suzuka that you also want to run. But then now you have to choose, okay, do I choose the Kitasan Black and then forego a max level Silent Suzuka? Or do I use my own Kitasan Black that I have and then use my friend's max level Suzuka even though my Kitasan Black isn't max level? And for that one, you can definitely do a very easy look at just a simple tier list. Of course, there's more reasons and deeper reasons why, you might want to have 1-star, 2-star, 0-star Kitasan Black versus something else, but these tier lists will give you a very good high-level look at why or which cards you want first. For example, we can see that a 0 limit break Kitasan Black is basically the same as a 0 limit break Tokai Teo. You can also see that it is comparable to some of these other SR cards at 2 limit break. King Halo for one, maybe I would kind of consider Special Week like an SR card because it's a free card. So you can see that a 0-star Kitasan Black is worth about the same as these ones. So if you're thinking about, okay, do I want to pull just 1 copy of Kitasan Black? Then if I compare it to these ones, I can replace Kitasan Black with some of these cards. But if I have a better, let's say, King Halo, then I probably wouldn't want to use Kitasan Black 0 limit break over that. So then you're going to be thinking in your head like, okay, well, if I have a 4-star King Halo, well, 2-star Kitasan Black is still worse than that. And you can kind of use this to figure out, okay, how many Kitasan Black should I pull if I'm considering not using a Kitasan Black support card from my friend and using my own versus my own, I guess, card pool. This is very easy, very high level, very easy to look at. Of course, you can go in and compare the exact, things with one another. Like you could put Kitasan Black here, then King Halo, then all the other cards, and do a breakdown of like everything that you should have and shouldn't have. But if you don't want to do that, this is just a very good way to do it at a high level that doesn't require much thinking. This document, along with every other link that I'm going to be showing on this video, I'm going to be linking in the description below. This is a very, very good document. This is the Uma Musume reference document for the global version. They have one for the Japan version that I used when I played in the Japan servers. So this has been kind of the, what I would call, Bible of Uma Musume since the beginning of time. So it's very, very trustworthy. There's a ton of information on here if you haven't ever looked at it. There's like 50 pages on this one. On the Japan one, there's like 150 pages, 160 pages. You should definitely look at this because this will tell you basically everything that you need to know about Uma Musume. So yeah, that at a high level is how you figure out whether or not you should be pulling X amount of Kitasan Blacks, depending on how you compare it to other cards. But let's say you want to think about this in another direction, where you're thinking about, okay, what is the optimal amount of Kitasan Blacks that I should pull? Because this level, let's say limit break 1, 2, 3, is going to be the most optimal, best bang for my buck value. Well, then we can take a look at this site that I just pulled up earlier, which is going to be Game Tora, again, link in the description, where we compare the stats of the different Kitasan Black limit breaks. You can see all the things like friendship bonus, mood bonus, power bonus, etc, etc. Now, you might have a question about what exactly each of these bonuses do. Well, you can click on the card itself and go into it, and you'll see that it'll explain every single effect and what they do. Now, I'm not going to go over everything specifically, but what I will say is that the most important ones to remember are that friendship bonus, mood bonus, power bonus, training effectiveness, and specialty priority are going to be the most important stats. How do I know that? Again, the Bible. The Bible here tells you specifically these are going to be the most important stats, and it explains to you why they're important. So I'm going to go over here and get rid of all the non-important stats for Kitasan Black, and you can see a breakdown of every single limit break along with the percent increases that they have. So from 0 to 1 is right here, 1 to 2 is right there, 2 to 3 right here, and 3 to 4 right there. Now, these aren't weighted on my document because I'm just not very good at stats and I don't really know how to make these weighted. So I actually went and asked ChatGPT for some help to figure out what the best, I guess, bang for your buck stop gaps are going to be. Again, of course, 4 limit break is going to be the best if you can get it. But if you get on a budget, where should you stop? Where should you, pull up to? And of course, each of these do kind of have their own weights as well. And I was sure to pump that into ChatGPT to ask it for some help to give it my, their best advice. So we can ignore all of this because here is the analysis. So it says right here, level 1 is a massive jump because gaining +1 power bonus, which I told it is very important, is extremely impactful. Power bonus, along with any other stat bonus, is really good because what it does is every time you press the training button, so let's say you press speed for Kitasan Black, it actually increases the amount of power that you'll get along with that as well. Now, level 2 offers a modest improvement, which you can see from the percentages over here. The percentage increase from 1 and the percent increase from 2 really aren't that big of a difference. You can see 9% here, 10.5% here. Again, not really weighted, but you can see that the increase actually isn't that much of difference. The one that you get from 1 limit break is going to be the biggest one in this section because you go from 0 power bonus to 1. So if you are on an extreme budget, right? Of course, getting 1 Kitasan Black is very good because you're going to be able to get all of the hints and the skills, which Kitasan Black's skills are very, very good. But if you're able to go beyond 1, right, and think about, should I get a second one? The answer is yes, 100% you should go for a second one if you can, because this +1 power bonus is going to be massive for you. It's just going to make it so that your horses are going to get more power every time you press that speed button, and it adds to the base. So any multipliers, anything else is going to increase that by a ton. So you definitely want to get 1 if you can, but of course, just pull at least 0, right? But if you can get 1 limit break, definitely do it. Now, what about 2 limit break? Well, ChatGPT says right here, 2 offers a modest improvement, and I agree. 2, again, gives you a very slight increase and doesn't give you that exponentially, infinitely bigger number right here with the power. Everything's just a very modest number. So if you cannot afford, or if you're thinking about going beyond 1, definitely don't stop at 2. If you don't want to stop at 2, if you don't want to go to 3, definitely just keep it at 1. Now, what about 3 limit break? As you can see, we get a significant increase right here with our specialty priority, which is how often a card will land on its specialty. So Kitasan Black is a speed card, which means this will increase your chances of getting Kitasan Black on speed by a ton, which is important because if it's not on speed, that means you can't get rainbows on it when it's at orange friendship bond. So this is a very, very important stat. And the fact that it goes from 20 to 68 is huge. If we want to compare that to other cards, right? Again, the other top tier SRs, SSRs, right? Well, this is not really top tier, but the other top tier SRs, you can see that for Kitasan Black, you get up to 116 at max, and these ones don't even compare. Now, you can get 68 here with 3, which is basically the same as King Halo, but if you're comparing it to some of these other cards, right, it's not nearly as good. So I would say that in order to get Kitasan Black to a point where I'd say it definitely outrules basically every other SR almost, I would say you would probably want to get it to 3-star. And ChatGPT also agrees that 3-star is going to be the best value upgrade. If you can get it to 3-star, 100% get it there. 4-star is, at the end of the day, a luxury. It is really good still, right? Getting from 68 to 116 specialty priority is huge. Again, the more special priority you have, the more likely it's going to show up in the correct stat to give you rainbows. And that means you are getting a lot of rainbows with Kitasan Black. But at the end of the day, the increase from this level 2 to level 3 versus level 3 to level 4 is just way bigger from level 2 to level 3 compared to level 3 and level 4. So you're getting these other stats on top of this huge 240% increase in specialty priority, as opposed to this one where you're just getting the specialty priority, which again is important, but you're not getting the other stats, unfortunately. So yeah, I would say the best bang for your buck stop spot is going to be 3 limit break if you can afford it. And if you're an uber whale, of course, max limit break is always going to be the best. But yeah, that about wraps up this video. Hopefully this helped you learn more about support cards in general and not just Kitasan Black, but also answer the question of how many Kitasan Blacks you should pull in the upcoming banner. But as always, if you have any questions, let me know down in the comment section below. I'll try to answer as much as I can. And also, while you're down there, be sure to hit the sub button if you enjoy the content, because that is the best way to support the channel and it is completely free. I also stream every single night on twitch.tv/MeSelectSure, so I'd love to see you guys there. But if not, hopefully I'll see y'all in the next video. All right, guys. Peace.